Hello guys, this manga has the biggest plot I have ever seen. I mean, just look at those huge plots. So our degenerate boy Masato-kun gets to live with his big sis cousin, Sayani-chan. In order to help him with his studies, she decided to tutor him. But how the hell our boy will focus on studying if she packs huge assets? On top of that, this naughty girl is always being way too close with him and loves to tease him. A heart-pounding new life together with his big sis cousin. This big sis kind of gives a mommy vibe, and her honkers are so huge and round. Not only that, it is super bouncy and jiggles a lot. I want to lay down on her thighs while her massive honkers rest on my face as I suck those pink milk fountains, and she will be playing with my joystick. This is just paradise. Or I will ask her to sandwich my face with those milk machines, and I die happily between them. Our boy is forced to live with his cousin due to his parents' situation. And we can see as he opened the door, he got greeted by two pairs of big honkers. So our boy Masato just became a high schooler and is pretty bad at studying, just like me. However, a new start, a new hope. So he promises himself to study hard and get into a good university. In the midst of studying, a girl appears and says, "If you don't understand something, tell your Oni-chan." However, his eyes landed on something big. Just look at this huge valley. Masato is just staring at it, as if his eyes are going to come out. Anyway, he declares that he doesn't need any help. But she reminds him that they are now living together. So she wants him to use her to the fullest, but our boy is embarrassed because of those two big milk machines. So this girl, Sayani-chan, is a cousin of his, who attends a good university, and now for some reason, she fashioned herself as his private tutor. If he has a girlfriend yet, she asks in a whisper as she leans in close to him. This jolted our boy, as if thunder had struck him. He quickly replies not to ask him weird questions, and he has a test tomorrow. She just laughs and says no need to act big. Actually, she is like this and keeps bugging him about every little thing. Just like that, she keeps bugging him to know the answer. So he says he doesn't have one. In his mind, he thinks that studying is his only concern for now. On the other hand, she, with a sweet grin, says that he must be head over heels for his Oni-chan, which keeps him away from getting a girlfriend. But he quickly denies it and declares that he isn't interested in her even a bit. However, she finds her actions cute as he gets shy. In his head, he thinks that she is nothing more than a hindrance to his studies, like she always makes fun of him and wears skimpy clothes. Our boy has big goals to achieve, so he set his mind not to fall victim to her teasing. As Masato is studying with Sayane-chan sitting next to him, his hand suddenly starts to shake as he sees the word huge, which reminds him of her huge honkers. She notices his sudden halt of his hand and now she wants to know if he is having problems. He refuses, but she insists on knowing. However, he gets distracted by those two hypnotizing honkers. So she says that the word huge will be kyodina in Japanese. But our boy can't revert his gaze from those two huge honkers. But he can't be interested in his Oni-chan, so he looks away as he says that he knows the answer. However, he reflects on how he is getting distracted by those stupidly big honkers. Upon seeing he made a mistake, she says that the word soft is yawarakai in Japanese. Damn, just look at those boobs, eyes. They are really pretty. Our boy starts to sweat as his mind is going crazy, thinking about his Oni-chan's honkers being huge and soft. However, he gets a hold of himself as he declares that it wasn't intentional. He just blanked out for a bit. She can tell by the look on his face that something naughty thoughts crossed his mind just now. She leans her head a bit as she waits for his answer, and the gravity doing its job, pulling the honkers down as if her shirt is struggling to hold it inside. Our boy can't help but stare at this beautiful sight. His cheeks get red as he says that he was just thinking how irritating she is. That's an obvious lie. We all know that he was thinking about those huge valleys. However, he further says that he doesn't need her help as he learned it in class and she just smiles. We can see that he is sweating as he forgot the next word as well. So he tries to remember while she, with a bright smile, asks why his hand isn't moving despite his previous statement that he can do it on his own. In his mind, he knows that she is teasing him again, knowing that he needs help. Our boy just stares at her as her side boobs are visible. "What now? Will you ask Oni-chan?" she asks, knowing that she is just playing with him. He is trying hard to remember what the word was, but all the possible words he can think of is huge, soft, and ball, which just reminds him of Oni-chan's enormous, super soft, and round honkers. Bro's mind is filled with her valleys. In the midst of his thinking, she whispers to him to surrender, as she will teach him everything. This gets him by surprise as he is trembling and his pencil falls. Being so close to him and as he unintentionally tries to catch his pencil, His hand just slides in between her huge honkers. An awkward moment for our boy. A deep silence fills the air. He can't believe what he just did. He can feel the heat, the softness, and the pleasure it is giving, making his body calm. He suddenly pulls out his hand, thinking that what he just did wasn't right, and he is sure that she is angry about it. To his surprise, she says, "Now see here, you won't find an answer in that place, you know." This got him blushing crazy and at the same time shocked at this. Anyway, he knows that he won't find any answers in that place, and it's happened because she just stood so close to him, and she tells not to be a nuisance. As he looks at his sweaty hand, he starts to think about that warm feeling, a feeling he hasn't experienced never before. Suddenly he utters tanama, which gets her attention as it was the Japanese word for valley. She is proud of him as he got the right word. "Good job, Masato-kun," she says. So the word valley is tanama, or you can just say tani in Japanese. He gets it now, but he isn't actually proud about it. Upon asking, he tries to fake it by saying he knew the answer. But she knows that he is lying. So she notes that repetition begets memorization. Therefore the word valley is tanama, which he must not forget. But our boy can't avert his gaze from her valley. These two valleys are making it hard to focus. Just look at those milk fountains. He starts to sweat as he remembers his hand was inside his Oni-chan's valley a few moments ago. Even though he is bad at studying, he got the answer right, which she thinks is great. He agrees with her as he says he can do it by himself and doesn't need a tutor. However, she suddenly pets him as she says, good boy, let your Oni-chan praise you." Our boy jumps out of shockness as he tells her not to touch him. "There you go again," she says. She lets him know that she is rooting for him and wants him to rely on her more. He just utters, "Yeah." So all he thought was that Sayani-chan was teasing and disturbing his studies, but now he realizes that she is actually thinking of him all this time. So he calls her out as he wants to ask her a question. This gets her eyes sparkling, so she goes near him and says that the word marry will be kekkensuru. With a mischievous smile, she asks if he knows that cousins can marry each other. Here we go again. Our boy is red as he screams at the top of his lungs as he regrets relying on her. The next day we can see Masato is giving his exam, and surprisingly he can remember everything, although it vexes him that he can answer all. So the study session with Sayani-chan and her huge valley was very effective, no doubt about it. The next day Masato is studying while Sayani-chan is just staring at him. So here's a quick summary of his life. He had to move into his aunt's house, and there his aunt's daughter, his cousin or big sister Sayane-chan, decided to help him with his studies. Feeling slight pain in his shoulder after studying for an hour, Masato is stressing his shoulders as she decides to help him with it. So now she is rubbing his shoulder and wants him to take care of it. Otherwise, it will become a big problem in the future. But Masato thinks that he will be fine as he is still young, unlike her. Her honkers are jiggling as it is almost close to being in contact with his back. Suddenly she leans in, declaring that she will keep massaging his shoulders no matter what he says. But Masato is panicking and sweating as he can feel her huge valleys. Our boy thinks that she is always getting in his way. Even though she said she would help with his studies, she is just doing things that have nothing to do with studies, like this shoulder massaging. Masato is sweating as he thinks that no matter what, he will not get attached to her. Suddenly, she says to rely on her more, but like always, he just denies, declaring that he can take care of himself. However, she really wishes for him to rely on her. Sayani-chan finds his shoulder stiff and decides to soften it. But her enormous valleys are poking his back, and if this continues, his thing might wake up. Sayani-chan notices that he is getting stiffer as she says to relax. But he replies that he is not stiff. She just utters, "Geez." She wants him to relax and leave his body to her as she is good with massaging. He says that it trickles, but in his mind he is more worried about the thing that is rubbing his back. She whispers that she knows what is making him so stubborn, and this just makes him sweat. "How is it? It feels good, right?" she whispers. Masato jumps out of shock as he screams that it's his turn now to pay her back. This brings a wide smile to her face as she declares that she is touched. In his mind, he thinks that he can't get defeated by her, and he also needs to study. As he is ready to massage her shoulders, he thinks of an idea to focus on her stiff place and rub very hard to make her squeal. She says that she is very happy, and Masato gets a clear view of her neck. She is running out of patience, so he softly touches her shoulders, and she just makes a weird sound, which gets him shocked. He screams as he denies her making any weird sounds, even though it was just a light rub. But to her, it felt really good. She lets him know that even though she doesn't carry heavy stuff on her back, her shoulders get stiff easily. We all know why her shoulders get stiff. It is because of the huge valleys she has to carry, and this is what he thinks in his mind. As he is massaging her shoulders, he notices that her bra can be kind of seen through her t-shirt. She brings up that he is really studying hard, but overdoing it is bad, and there are a lot of things he can only do now besides studying. With a shy face, he says that he is not overdoing it. However, he should rest when it's time to rest and play when it's time to play. And more importantly, he can leave his studies to his favorite sister. The word favorite makes him shy as he declares that he doesn't like her in that way. Because of this sudden intrusion on his rubbing session, one of her bra's hooks gets detached. Now he is panicking as sweats dip down his face. His heart starts to beat fast, thinking that her bra might fall off. It seems that the other two hooks can't be enough to keep the bra in place because of the enormous valleys, so he has to fix it somehow. Therefore, he goes with intense rubbing in order to attach the hook. But while he is having a hard time here, her face is getting red from the pleasure she is getting. However, his mission is stopped when she suddenly moans, making his mind go blank. She lets him know that this is enough. Further than this will make her mind go crazy. On the other hand, Masato decides to stay silent as he wasn't able to fix her bra. Since it is easier to study when the body feels good, she tells him to concentrate on his studies now. She demonstrates that she is feeling good because of the massaging as she stretches both hands backward, but suddenly the hooks get detached as her huge honkers hang down. Her boobs just exploded, and this makes her face red. He asks if she is okay, but she turns around as her enormous honkers also turn with the motion, and she says not to worry about it, because this happened quite a few times before and this just shocked him. She again moves, and her huge honkers follow the motion sideways. This just almost hit his face with those massive milk packages. He was damn sure that if those were hit him, he would have passed out. She asks if she is all right or not. Luckily, he was able to dodge this cannon attack. It was all possible because of how his body feels light and smooth from the rubbing she did. The next day starts with Masato returning home with his test result, so he failed and decided to get a good score in the retest. As he opens the door, he finds Sayani-chan doing some exercises. This gets his cheeks red as he notices those big round eyes and the shape of her donkers that can be seen through her tight pan. While stressing her hands, she figures out something bad happened, but he denies looking the other way. But she can read him like a book, so she gets it that he failed the test and now he has to give it again. This is very frustrating to our boy as she declares to leave it to her. First, she decides to start with muscle training, but he cannot help but to ask why. Anyway, they are now doing push-ups as he thinks to himself that he got sucked into her silly games again. She says that he can focus easily if he moves his body and refreshes his mind. So that is why they are doing exercises. But our boy's gaze landed on something huge. It seems that she is struggling to do push-ups with her enormous milk machines. This just makes push-ups harder for him as he can't focus at all. But suddenly he feels high pressure on his back. It was Sayani-chan on top of his back as she says that these are like adding weights. But he screams as he tells her to get off him, but she teases him, making him not want to lose to her. He is shaking, trying to lift her up, but suddenly she stands up, resulting in his face dropping to the ground. She asks if he is all right, but he screams saying that he doesn't have time for this, since he can't fail the retests. However, she reminds him that taking a break is important. Now the next exercise where they have to entwine their legs. So she says that as he will be doing exercises, she will ask questions, because it is easier to remember when working out as the blood flow rate increases to the brain. As she is about to ask the first question, he stops her by asking why they have to do exercises together. So she says that as a teacher, she wants to share the same pain and joy with him. But she also has another reason, which is to lose some weight. First question, what is the name of the elements symbolized by He? He answers that it will be helium. So this continues as he gives some right answers and some wrong. He notices that she is sweating, and her face is getting red. One of the answers came out like moans, which got our boy shocked. She then asks, what is the symbol for hydrogen? But all he can think about is how close they are as he can even hear her breathing. And this position is making her mind go blank. It's time up, and now it's her time to reveal the answer. So the answer is H, which came out like a long moan. And this is where our boy's heart starts to beat fast as sweat drips down his face. She finds it's enough training for today as she dismisses the exercise. Now he is left thinking why he is getting excited over his big sis. She crawls towards him, and this just makes our boy's heart beat faster. He can't not help but to think when she is that close. She points her finger down as she says, "Ah, it's getting hard." This just jolted his whole body as he decided that it's not like that. His rod is not hard at all. Few days passed and Masato returned home with the result of the retest exam. It reveals that for the first time ever he got a perfect score. Sayani-chan also sees this, and she just smiles. It is all thanks to his big sis. But he just says that he got a perfect score because he studied hard, but in reality her moans keep playing on his head. so this makes sense why he got a perfect score. Another day, and Masato comes home from school. He is greeted by Sayani-chan's huge melons, and his eyes just land on them. So she just came out of the bath. That is why she is feeling refreshed. Our boy can't figure out where to look, because whenever she is like this, his gaze just drops on her big round eyes. Anyway, she asks if he is getting scared when going home like a little kid, which makes him shocked. So she decides to give him a home ride starting tomorrow. It is easy to get hypnotized by those valleys. However, he snaps back as he says he isn't a kid anymore. But she worries about him since she still thinks of him very young. She lets him know that he can always depend on her. But to his mind, he thinks that he can't not let himself be treated like a child by her. It is just embarrassing. Later, he heads back to his room to study. He has to be smart and show her that he doesn't need her help and make her regret it. No matter what, he will focus really hard today. However, she barges in, which scares him. He says that he doesn't need tutoring today. Acting all tough again, she says. But actually, she didn't come here to help him. Rather, she came to play video games with him. He doesn't have time for that, but she reminds him that it can help him relax and improve his concentration, which will ultimately help him with his studies. Are you scared of getting beat by your big sister? She asks. This is not at all, he says. However, it is understandable because he is a kid after all, and there is no way he can beat her. There is her acting all high and mighty. He thinks that he can't fall for her trick. But this is his time to prove that he is good at playing games, and if he beats her, she will never ask to play again and bother him ever. So he agrees to play with her. Now they are playing games, as he says not to cry when she will lose. But she will not go easy on him. Masato notices that she is actually good at playing games, but it is his time to shine. So he defeats her, but she wants to play again. However, he thinks that if he keeps playing, there will be no chance for her to win as he is adapting to the game. However, as she is playing the game really hard, her body is moving, and her big, soft melons are also following the moments. These melons are bouncing so much that he cannot avert his gaze from them. Without realizing it, he loses the game, making him wonder how he actually lost with an open mouth. While she celebrates her victory, he gets it that he got distracted by those hypnotizing big eyes. Anyway, he asks for another match as he declares that he won't lose this time. As they are playing, her huge honkers are bouncing like a bouncing ball, and his gaze just automatically lands on them. Our boy thinks that this is cheating as he can't focus at all because of these stupidly big bouncing melons. But could it be a trick of her? He wonders. She speaks, saying that the loser will get punished. Whatever the punishment will be, he won't let her win this time. The intense match continues. However, he tries his best to focus on the screen, but it all goes in vain. Her huge, round, and soft eyes are bouncing so much that they are barely in her t-shirt. They are almost spelled out, and he can't stop staring at them. Suddenly, she says, "You are looking at my boobs way too much." He doesn't even realize that the game is already over and she just won. He quickly says that he wasn't looking at those, but she can tell he has been sneaking glances. "Still can't get over milk, Masato-kun. You are such a kid," she says. So our boy got caught, and he can't say anything to this. Who wouldn't look at something like that? The only thing he can do now is to give a big smile as sweats dip down his face, and the punishment will be carried out later.